live here on today's Launch Crate Live from Home. This is a very, very special edition of Launch Crate Live from Home. I'm Cynthia, the founder and chief story shepherd of Launch Crate Publishing. Super excited for those of you that are joining us today. If you do me a favor, please, please, please drop something in the comments. Let us know that you're watching. Say hello. We love to keep these interactive, and the more you are engaging with us, the more fun it's going to be for everybody. We've already had Launch Crate tapping in a little bit early because, of course, we're excited for this. And Terrence Harvey says hello as well. Again, y'all make sure that you tap in, say hello, let us know where you're watching from. Share this with your people because we've got some really fun stuff to talk about today. And I'm not going to tap dance around it anymore. I'm just going to bring on our guest of honor. Miss Brittany, how are you?
Hi, Miss Cynthia. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. So good to see you.
Same
We've got
here. Me
people
too.
tapping in from all over.
I saw my Uncle
Melissa,
Terrence. Hi, Uncle T.
Uncle Terrence tapped in. Melissa is watching over on YouTube. Uncle Terrence said he
Awesome.
can't wait.
I know that's right.
Mitzi
Auntie.
Harvey Key is watching from Cali. Awesome. Rachel has tapped in. Hey, Rachel.
Hi. Oh, my family don't play about
Okay. Guest
me.
of honor. Look who's tapping in.
Hey, T.
I love this. Y'all continue to say hello. Thank you for tapping in from wherever you are watching from. Brittany and I have some exciting stuff to chat about today, don't we?
We sure do.
Awesome. You got another special guest before we
Uh-oh.
do.
What's up, Aunt?
You can hear it, can't you?
I
Holla
can.
at your
I heard
boy.
it. Holla at your girl.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. This is super exciting. You've got congratulations coming in from all over. Lori is watching over on LinkedIn. Samantha has tapped in from YouTube. It's a special day, isn't
You
it?
guys are awesome. It is. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh. So last time we were here, we were celebrating a different launch. What was that one?
That was from my first book ever, The Adventures of Zweebo and Lawanda.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And tell me how you feel having one book out and into the world already.
I'm gonna start with blessed because it's all
Okay.
possible because of God. As He's moving, He's doing. With that, I'm human, so I'm gonna be really honest. It's very surreal
Yeah.
that I get to do it, that I am doing it, and that I get to celebrate with everyone that I love, either near or far, in all these different ways, and to do it not only once but twice.
Mhm.
Not very many people get to say that ever. So it's a privilege that I hope I get to earn throughout the rest of the journey.
Yeah. I love that frame of reference and frame of mind as you're approaching the work of being an author, especially of a book that's intended for children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've had some awesome opportunities stem from the release of this first book. Tell me a little bit about the work that you've gotten to do with, is it Turn the Page KC?
It is Turn the Page KC. That was an ultimate
Yeah.
blessing. So Turn the Page KC is a literacy group here in Kansas City. They serve the metropolitan area. So for those who ain't from here, that's Missouri, that's Kansas, is a whole bunch of people. And I love what they do. I'm still learning, but they do things like spotlight local authors like me, share their work with the community. They buy our books and they give them away for free to kids throughout different distribution events. Getting a book for free. I love the little, what is it, Scholastic Fair. I ain't gonna hold you. My mama gave me some money, but the free book fair where I got that free book changed my life. So to know that they do that often and they've invited me to be a part of that programming, to come back to a place where I had volunteered in the community in a different aspect, and to be able to give every single book away. And everybody came up, what's your Venmo? How do I? It's free, it's yours. And then to
Yeah.
watch that book be part of that family, belong to that family as they continue to celebrate through the rest of the reading festival, to see literacy at play. It's not just learning the words, it's not just learning them by yourself and being able to read all these advanced books by yourself. Sure, some of us do that. I did it. But it's about sharing the love of those books, the space that those
Mm-hmm.
books can hold with each other, and
Mm-hmm.
watching what it does when it goes out into the world.
Yeah. So you and I have had regular check-ins since the release of this first book, and one of the
Mhm.
stories that you shared with me, which is something that I hold near and dear to my heart, and it wasn't even my experience. So it's kind of a secondhand experience, but I want you to share this with the world. And that's the story of the little boy who got the
Mm.
and just held on to it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'd love to tell that story. There might be little pauses in this story because it does hit so deep, and it brings
Yeah.
up that gravel in my throat in a positive way. But
Okay.
uh, this particular family was at the Reading Fest for Turn the Page KC, and there were lots of events there. They had a puppet show, they had the libraries there. There was just different things that they could do if they're up the whole day, and they had partaken in some of those. And they had just so happened to miss the story time that I did just by a few minutes. And it was a mom with three sons, an older son, and they just all fit the exact trope of that sibling group. So the little, and they're just all over the place. And the oldest son was just over the height of the desk, and he looked at me and told me that he wanted to be an author one day too. And I asked him what kind of books. He said, I don't know yet. And I said, guess what? You don't have to know. I don't know either. I'm just playing and having fun, but I can't wait to read yours. And I read the book at the table just for them. We did a reading, and he told me his brother's name so I could sign it for all of them and how to spell them. And then I gave him the book. And then they went over to the puppet show, and I just happened to have a perfect view where I could see not the puppet show, but the interactions of the family with it. And he still had my book in his hand, not only in his hands, but it was sliding under his feet. He was scooching over it. He was flipping the papers as he was fully enthralled into that magnificent puppet show. And in that moment, I realized that even if I had just come for that, that was enough. And that book is his. That's exactly what I would want. Whatever he wants to do with that book is whatever he wants to do. Just to see him that safe and secure with an idea that left my head and my heart is something that has kept me going ever since.
Yeah. I mean, that's really who we write for, isn't it?
Mhm. It is. It absolutely
Yeah.
is.
Okay. So, The Adventures of Zweebo and Lawanda. What was the gist of that story?
That story is about chosen family, about adoption, about taking chances on folks, about the power of a name and learning
Hmm.
them and sharing them, um, the power of always coming together and taking leaps, loving each other, and for it to come out of a place that doesn't quite make sense, but it makes the
Yeah.
most sense in the end.
Yeah. And that took place in Darla's Garden,
It
right?
did, yes, a very special place.
It is a very special place. And in fact, this second book also takes place in Darla's Garden, does it not?
It does. It brings you
It,
back. It's kind of an in-between, so you'll learn
mhm.
some new people and see a whole new adventure, but I think you'll be so amazed to be able to come back home.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the expeditions of Elma and Leroy. What is this book about?
Oh, my goodness. This book, I thought I knew what it was about when I wrote it, and I'm not going to lie to you. I'm learning every day what it means because I'm in the book now. I didn't anticipate that. I didn't create those characters for that reason, but this book is an extension of The Adventures of Weebo and Lawanda. It's all part
Hmm.
of the journey to Darla's Garden. So you're going to see recurring themes of love, friendship, community, the things that we need to survive, the things that connect us all as humans, wherever we are in the world, whatever job we have, role. Those are core things that we all experience and that we need to breathe. So I think you'll see those things there. But I
Yeah.
think different than the last story where it was just wonderful and scary in the sense of newness, this is scary in the terms of you have to face things, things that you don't want to face, things you don't know how to face,
Mm.
things you don't feel equipped to face,
Hmm.
with the idea that it gets better at the end, even though you can't see it. And the idea that there's other people that believe in you and they don't know it either, but they believe in you enough that they'll meet you on the other side.
Yeah.
Um, so it's definitely an adventure. It's an expedition. Um, it does call you to be a little brave, but I think the message I know the message I want to share is that um, when you read this book with me or read it on your own, these characters are all afraid. They
Mm.
might seem braver than the other. They're all brave because they're all afraid and choosing to believe in themselves and each other anyway.
Absolutely.
So I hope you can
Absolutely.
see yourself in all of them somehow.
Yeah. So we write for children, but there are also stories that resonate with adults as well, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. And I think I told you this story when we were meeting. I had written the story in parts, and we'll get to all that. And I know you have questions for me, but the day I put it all together, I was sitting here at this desk, and I'm never that equipped, y'all. I write in my bed, I write all over the place, snack. There's not that cute. I don't have a set thing. So to be at my desk and all that, that's already funny to me because I'm like, this is what we're doing. And I was listening to Nicki Minaj and Mr. Rogers in the same evening. and it had nothing to do with each other. And it all started with Cat Williams. And it was an adventure. And Cat Williams had said something, and you all know what he said, all kinds of stuff. He said something just about learning your craft and
Yeah.
watching people and watching the tapes and really learning what they do and how you do it. And I said, wait a
Hmm.
minute. I grew up watching Mr. Rogers. I've never watched him talk about his craft. I've seen it. I know what it does to me. So I was like, well, let me start researching. At the same time, I was listening to Nicki Minaj's new album because I wanted to be cool and say I knew music and that I was up to date. I'm not, and I've never listened to a full album, but I was listening to her and her album. It was kind of about, but she said that this time she wrote the music just for her. She didn't write for any other reason. She wrote what she wanted to
Mm.
write. So I
Hmm.
heard that in that ear as this music is playing. After I heard what Cat Williams had said, and then I turned to Mr. Rogers, and it was an interview I had never seen before, and I'm not going to do it justice, but he said that the person that sits next to a child to read to them won't always be there, but the memory of them doing that will be, and it'll sit with them every time they read to someone.
Yeah.
So all that to answer your question, I did write it for kids, but I wrote it for those kids to carry it on throughout those generations, for the story to be shared, for kids to be
Hmm.
read to. And he also added that if you can read to them with a loving arm around them. So it's my
Mm.
idea that this story and the series of the Journey to Darla's Garden can bring more of those come around moments, and that when
Yeah.
that person or that experience isn't there anymore, you carry that with you to the next person that you read or share this story with, and that they just continue to meet the next person they're supposed to meet.
Woo. I love it. You had some more people tap in, Brittany, and we'll come back to the inspiration, more about the inspiration for the second book in a second. But Tashana is watching over on YouTube. Nita has tapped in and says, congrats on your second book over on
Thank
Facebook.
you.
And Proud Mom has tapped in.
Thank you, Mom.
You gotta love it. Tanisha said, so dope.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I love this. Y'all keep those
I did
comments
too.
rolling. We love
Thank
to
you.
share this time with you. And again, the more interactive you are with us, the more impactful this live will be for everyone. Um, Brittany, you were talking about what moved you to writing, but I want to touch on this topic of fear and self belief. And
Mm.
was there a particular moment or experience that sparked that as the topic for this book?
That's a great question. So to compartmentalize it a little bit, I didn't know where this book was going to go, and I'll be honest. When I wrote Zubo and Lawanda, I thought it was a one and done. I thought it was a great ride. I was grateful for every second. I was going to buy that book for the rest of eternity. If y'all had babies, I don't even worry about it. I wrote a book. I got you. That's where the trajectory that I was on.
Yeah.
Um, I drew Leroy right after. He never had a name. He didn't have any color. He didn't have anything attached to him. He was just a black and white outline. And I just wanted to draw a dragonfly at the time, I think.
Hmm.
And I left him there for a year. Never looked back. I forgot I drew him. In fact, forgot he was on the iPad. Um, this time, it was fear of doing it again, fear of wanting to do it again,
Hmm.
and admitting that this is what I love. And it's not in place of everything else I do. It is almost an illustration of who I am and who I want to be.
Yeah.
Um, and then I had to figure out, well, who is this person and what is he supposed to be doing? Because I just had one, I had nothing. I had no idea. Zuba and Lawanda, I knew them, but that's all I knew. And then one day my niece was leaving to go back to college on one of her breaks, and it was really rainy that day. So I was a little worried about her. It was stormy. She had a few hours to go, and she's really good at packing. She had everything she needed to do, and I'm just following behind her. Did you get this? Did you get your charger? Do you have your wallet? And I reached for my umbrella, and I said, "Do you need an umbrella?" And she said, "Brittany, I got everything." And I was like, "Ah, okay, my bad. You got it. You don't need me." And then I had to let her go do her thing.
Yeah.
And then I just looked at my umbrella, and that's in the book too. And I was like, I mind that in there.
Hmm.
And then I added that piece in there, and it was feeling good and wonderful. And then I think life just got a little more scarier in general for everyone,
Yeah.
specifically me and my walk. And not even necessarily that life isn't great. I'm privileged to write books and to lead teams and to be a community member and to have my health and great love and family. Um, but I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's next. I don't know what step to take. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm team. I like to know a little something, something. I want to know where we're going. I want to know the parking situation. I want to
Yeah.
know what's the next step after Google tells me. I want to see the whole route before I even get on the. Like I'm cool for the adventure, but I just need a little something. And this is the first time seemingly in my life where I don't have that. There's no GPS.
Yeah.
There's nothing but the people telling me that they will be with me through the storm or meet me on the other side. So
Mm-hmm.
that got scary, and I didn't want to do that. And I surely didn't want to model anything. I didn't want anybody looking at me anymore. I didn't want to be the leader. I didn't want to be the book author. I didn't write nothing. Don't ask me anything. Um, but those pages kept coming together, and next thing I knew, here we were. And I just knew, different than Zubo and Lawanda, where I wanted to share it. This is where I
Mm-hmm.
wanted and I needed to. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to need to this time, which is a story for another day. But here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Austin, I agree with you. It is definitely cool to hear about the deeper meaning behind these books.
Thank you, Austin.
All right. So we have a question from the comments. I want to pop this up here. When telling your story, who did your illustrations? He
I
also
did.
corrected.
I did all of them.
Yeah. Let's talk about that process. Mr.
Woo!
Miss, I'm not an illustrator. We've had that
Yeah, you see how
conversation
Uncle
several
James set
times.
me up for that. I feel like y'all met before, and
We
that's
did
fine.
not.
That's
No.
fine. We'll talk. It's okay. That's another big difference from this one. If you all look back, or if you were part of this journey, you didn't hear me say illustrator not one time. Cynthia did, other people did, and the book says it, and the copyright, but I didn't say it. Because
Right.
I felt like I was lying. I felt like I was a doodler, and I knew how to doodle my doodles. I don't know how to draw anything else. And this time I know it's different because that same story, and I don't know if I told you this part, it was the same turn the page KC reading event, different child, and I was
Mm-hmm.
signing after signing, and that was my favorite part. So I'm like, you get a free book, you get a free book. I'll write whatever you want me to write. And this kid got me. He said, "Can you draw an apple?" And I said, "An apple?" Because it's not in the book. It's not
Yeah.
a. And I was just trying to see that. You want an apple? That's what you want? Yeah, an apple. And I was like, and I almost said, and I might have, I don't know how to draw no apple. But then I pulled out some receipt paper and a pen, and I did a little thing, and I slid it to him. I said, "How does this apple look? Does it look pretty good?" He's like, "Yeah." And I said, "All righty." So then I put it into the book, and in that moment, I realized, "Girl, you are an illustrator. You're an
Yep.
illustrator. An illustrator is someone that can bring words and ideas to life through picture."
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say I had to be an artist. I don't have to know color theory. I don't have to be Da Vinci or anybody. But that little boy got his apple that day, and I was able to do it in a few seconds, even when I didn't think I could.
Yeah.
Um, so if I don't want to, it's a gift, and it's one that I want to celebrate this time. I think you'll see it in the story. The way I designed Zuba Lawanda was very deliberate, so it's no shade to my friends over there. But this one, I wanted to bring more richness to the pages because there's so much more emotion.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want people to let go or to be afraid. I wanted them to be enthralled and in that world, fully in the story, but not lost in the story, not feeling like there's no exit.
Yeah.
This isn't the page master where you got to fight for your life to get out the book. This is a book where it's an adventure. You're going to fluctuate, and you won't be alone.
Mm. Super powerful. Hitting all the feels here.
It
Hitting all the feels. Gosh. So this book moved really quickly.
did. It did.
Really quickly. Can you talk a little bit about the process from sharing your initial draft with us to seeing that final draft and then the illustrations turned into the book that we see today?
Yeah, you might have to correct me on some of my dates. My sense of time isn't what she used to be. But I drew Leroy right after I submitted everything for Zubo and Lawanda. So I would say that he was born like around October 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I think I sent you my manuscript in January of
Mm-hmm.
2024. Um, and everything was due for us to be on target for an initial May launch in March. So I had to get you all my illustrations, the story, and the copy. And the story was already there. And I have amazing friends that edit for me and look at everything ahead and just boost me along the way. And we weren't ready. And it wasn't because we didn't want to be. Life had different plans. Life had some big different plans.
Yeah,
And not
absolutely.
only were we early, but we had to learn how to be early and to adjust and to still somehow, whenever the stars aligned again, show up the way we wanted to, and to escort these characters into the world, even if we didn't know how to stand into the world.
Yeah.
So not only did it happen quick, but it changed quickly. Um, and even the moment logging into this, you asked me, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Nope." And then we were live. Um, so it's been a whirlwind,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word. But sometimes I think you need those gusts to get you where you have to go to leave that harbor. And I'm glad to be out here with you.
Yeah. Awesome. Uh, Uncle Terrence tapped in.
Uncle T.
He said, Brittany, you're being humble and modest. You can do or accomplish anything you put your mind to.
Thank you.
That's true. It may take a little bit more work, a little bit more effort, but if you keep grinding, you keep chipping away at it, right? We can get there. We
Absolutely.
can we can get to whatever that end goal looks like for us
Yeah, I'm gonna
across
do a callback to
the
Uncle
board.
Denzel because I had to listen to him again today, even just to be here with you all. And I
Yeah.
said it last time, but he said that deep feeling you get, that itch, that desire in your stomach, you can't stop thinking about those butterflies.
Yep.
That's a reminder of God's promise to you that it's already yours, and you just have to go get it. And that's what you're talking about, Cynthia. It's that repetitive discipline, being ready,
Yeah.
showing up, because you don't know when that pops up, but you know that it's yours. You know
Yep.
it's yours. So yeah, it's not easy, y'all, but it has to be done, and that's why I'm here. It's to celebrate and to do my job, and I say that real humble, as humble as I can. Um, Elma and Leeroy want to be here. They need to be here. You need to see Darla's garden, and I need to meet you
Hmm.
there.
I love that so much. Brittany, what kind of impact do you hope this book has on the children who read it or the children at heart who read it?
I hope it does what you just helped me see that I just did. I didn't notice, so I looked at myself in the frame. I am a Leo, so I did look, but just taking that breath,
Yeah.
the big one, the one you don't feel like you can take or don't know how to take.
Hmm.
It's learning how to keep breathing when you've realized you've held your breath or you don't know how
Hmm.
to grasp it. Um, so for me, I think the gift I pray for the most is breath. Um, Bravery in the sense of I'm changing the definition. I don't know what Webster says or anybody or Merriam, you can ask them, but choosing to believe in yourself anyway,
Yep.
no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
I think they'll get that. And I think they'll see that maybe you're not quite as alone as you think. The storms might be different for other folks, and some people might fly through them differently, but they're there. And
Yeah.
they're not as horrific as they seem. They bring good, they bring joy, not in the moment, but they do. Um, so I
It's
hope it
sometimes
gives a
hard to
little
see
hope
that joy.
factor. It's very hard to
Yeah.
see. It's very
Yeah.
cloudy. Storms can be very loud. I know some people,
Hmm.
for me, I sleep like a baby. I love that sound. For some people, it's detrimental, it's unnerving. It's very bright sometimes, even in the darkness with the flashes and not knowing where they're going and what they're going to hit, or if
Yeah.
they're signs of peace or more destruction. You don't know whose house is getting hit by the storm, whose isn't.
Hmm.
And someone special to me once told me that Mother Nature is undefeated, excuse me. And I mean that very respectfully. It's something that should be renowned. It's fearful, but it's good. And I think if I can do anything to help make fear be beneficial in any way, maybe that's enough, at least for my
There we
walk.
go. I love that. Should we read it?
I think we should.
Okay. Well, I am going to pull up the illustrations so that they can see it. I'm going to remove myself from the stream and put you in the hot seat in the corner so they can see you while you're reading this. Hopefully, we can get all that done. Uh, while while I am um, getting all of that together, can you talk a little bit about some of the feedback that you received from the beta readers? Let me
Oh yeah.
preface that with an asterisk. So, Brittany talked a little bit about how quick this process was, but we had some awesome beta readers that still were able to step in and help us to give us some feedback on this title so that we could make sure that it was the best version possible going to launch for the rest of you. Brittany, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I wish I could have everybody be a beta. I want to share it all with you in that capacity. But I asked some folks that were near and dear to me, some with children, some without, some with nieces and nephews, some without, some who had read Zubo and Lawanda, some who had not. And it was just really positive. People, they wanted the story to be shared. They wanted to own it. They wanted to buy it and share it with other people. They told me they couldn't wait for it to be in the library, like Zubo and Lawanda. Um, they're really just grateful to be part of the experience, which for me, again, that community piece, it's so powerful to be able to ask for feedback, to ask for really just love. Because it'd be loving if you told me you didn't like it too, or if I needed to fix it. So to just expose myself to that and to have people that I love and respect tell me what they felt about these characters that came out of my heart and in my mind and how they love and respect them. This is really powerful to me, and it was an amazing beta process. And I'm very grateful to all of you that participated in beta. And if anybody want to be in beta for book 3, let me know. All right, so this is the expeditions of Elma and Leeroy. To the lions who helped me find my roar. Once upon a time, there was a glimmerfly named Elma. This is Elma. She lives in the meadow and has always dreamed of traveling the world. When she dreams, she also hopes. She hopes to make a friend on her travels, someone she can play with, someone she can laugh with, someone she can count on. Elsewhere, someone was hoping for things to stay the same. This is Darla. Perhaps you've met her before. If this is the first time, you may still feel like you know her. She's been looking forward to seeing you either way, my darling. Did you pack an umbrella? It's supposed to rain, said Darla. Mom, I already got one. I've got everything, said Lawanda as she packed for her next adventure with Zebo. For quite some time, Darla had hoped for something, something to look forward to, something to protect, something to love. She didn't expect that something would be someone she would have to let go. She inhaled deeply. Then you're ready, she exhaled. Darla smiled as Zebo and Lawanda left for their adventures, remaining until they were out of sight. She waited a few minutes more, just in case. Not sure what to do next, Darla tended to her garden. Elma had traveled east to the forest where she ran into a dragonfly. Hey there, I'm Elma. Do you want to play? My name's Leeroy. That's Leeroy. Yeah, we can play racing. Get set, go! They laughed as Elma zoomed and Leeroy zagged through the trees. They twirled and swirled in the air for hours when suddenly, boom! Thunder roared in the forest. Don't be afraid. It's just a storm coming, said Leeroy. You'll get caught in the rain if you go back to the meadow. You should come to my house in the valley and have dinner with my family until it passes. I would love to, but I am afraid. What if I get stuck in the storm? I can't do this, she cried. You can do this. All we need is a glimmer of hope. You're enough, said Leeroy. I'm not brave like you, said Elma. Perhaps, perhaps not. Let's find out with a quick jaunt. Get set, go! Plop, plop, plop. As the rain began to pour, Leeroy began to soar. Elma took a deep breath. Even though she was afraid, she decided to believe in herself anyway. Looking for the rainbow in the clouds, she began to chant, I can do this. I can do this. Leroy, you were supposed to be home before the rain started. I was worried about you, said Darla. I apologize, Auntie. I met a new friend in the forest. It wasn't safe for her to travel home, so I invited her to dinner. I hope that's okay. Of course it's okay, she assured him. Now take my umbrella and go greet our guest properly. We must mind our manners, Leroy. Yes, ma'am, thank you. Leroy zipped and zooped toward his new friend. A rainbow appeared, tucked away in the clouds. Elma exhaled and headed towards it. Elma had hoped to make a friend on her travels, someone she could play with, someone she could laugh with, someone she could count on. That someone ended up being a dragonfly. I made it, Leroy. But of course, I always believed that you would. Come on, I want you to meet someone, said Leroy. This is my friend Elma, and this is my Auntie Darla. Hello, my darling. It's so lovely to meet you, said Darla lovingly. I'm glad you're here. You're always welcome. And so, the adventures continue.
I feel like we should have a round of applause, like in the background.
Thank you.
It's so much fun hearing the authors read their own stories out loud because you really get to hear the voices of the characters and the way that they are thinking and processing in the story. How does it
Absolutely.
feel reading it?
I'm going to be very honest because I think I had a hard meeting today with my team for work this morning, and it wasn't hard
Mm-hmm.
for what we had to do. It was just hard for me to have to get through it. And I told them that I think I wanted them to know that I care about them as whole people, their breath, their heart, what they do,
Yeah.
and that I understand that sometimes that looks different, and it does with me too. And I said, I think as people, and especially as leaders, we have to show that and model that. Um, and sometimes as a leader, especially if you're really a leader, you really, really are one, it can be really hard to do that because it seems weak. It seems like you're not holding up what you're supposed to be holding up for people, which is hope and all
Mm.
the things. It feels like you're letting them down somehow. And I didn't know how I was going to read that book. I didn't know I was going to be here. I didn't know how I was going to read the book. I didn't know how I was going to do anything to be the person I was supposed to be to help get it here.
Yeah.
So it feels really, really, really good to be able to get through that book.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was very well received.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Not just for me.
I see all them hearts and hand claps. I know that's right.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Absolutely.
all. Thank you. Thank you.
Special note from Samantha. She says, I love this story. The illustrations are so good. You've come so far. I'm so proud of you. Can't wait to get to the expedition. Oh, can't wait to get the expeditions of Elma and Leroy and read it with Colson. I love that so much.
That's so special. Thank you.
So, Brittany, we are celebrating online right now. You can hear it, can't you?
I can't. That's why I'm like, y'all gotta leave me alone. Y'all gotta leave me alone.
No, absolutely not.
I
In
heard it. That was
fact,
why we both paused. He's like,
uh-huh.
ah.
In fact, we want people to join on Saturday in person, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
please.
let's talk a little bit about what they can expect, what's coming up for our in-person book launch.
Yeah, we're gonna be at Junior Achievement Kansas City, which I'm so excited about. They have been so gracious to let us use their space. One, I want to make sure people know what they do and what they do for our community, and that we have a safe and warm spot for people to come through and just fellowship together, which is what we'll be doing. We'll have some
Mhm.
music, we'll have a photo booth, we'll have some activity tables for your kiddos so you have something to do for them on Saturday. Everything is free, except you're going to have to buy some books from me.
Yes.
And we'll have raffle opportunities too. I had some really cool friends in the community offer up some awesome prizes. We have Patrick Mahomes jersey, we have an Amazon Kids Fire tablet. I have friends that made movie night gift packs, game night gift packs. Someone made a Darla to give away. We have tanning salon gift card, a blowout bar gift card, and I'm not even sure what else people are going to be blessing us with that day. My auntie's making a cake, so y'all already know. I'm
Yeah.
getting my slice. You guys can get yours, but that'll be there and it'll be amazing. So I hope it'll be a good, just safe time for people if they want to pull up. Come see me. Come have some
Yeah.
fun. Come have some adventure. Come say hello to people. Make some new friends. Have a snack. Get some water.
Yeah. I am super excited. So I got to go to the Youth Learning Lab today for something different for junior achievement and talk to them, and they were super excited to be welcoming us into the space on Saturday. And you all, if you haven't been to the Youth Learning Lab yet, you have to see it. So if for no other reason, just come so that you can see that
Oh yeah,
and then celebrate with us with all of these amazing things that are happening there. Buy some books buy one for you, because again, it is a picture book, but we just heard Brittany read it, and I'm sure it touched not just me, but some more of you in our own individual and personal way. But buy one for you, buy one for the young people in your life, buy some for when you run into a young person so that you can hand it to them. But just come join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I
it's
am
gonna be
super
a lot of
excited.
fun. I am too.
Super,
I'm so
super
excited,
excited.
and thank you all for everything you've already done to share these stories with the world. We don't
Hmm.
get to see everything, and I try to tell you all the cool stuff as often as I can, but there's so much more. And it really just comes down to the joy on the face of anyone, a child specifically, because yes, it's a children's book, but when I tell you it brings joy to all ages, and people just want
Absolutely.
to talk about it and experience it. So every review, every like, share, comment, every request that you put into your local library for them to fund it and get it to people for free. I'm team get this book in as many hands of kids for free as possible because reading should be as accessible as possible. But it takes
Yep.
work for us to make that happen. So thank you all for everything that you've done, including all your encouraging words to me. These characters exist because of you, and they want to be here with you. But everything you've done means so much, and I'm so grateful.
Woo. I feel like we should end the live stream on that.
Okay.
Brittany, what else do you want people to know about the expeditions of Elma and Leeroy, or about the journey to Darla's garden?
It's ongoing. Everyone is welcome. And I'll say
Yeah.
that again for the people in the back. Everyone is welcome at all times. There's nothing to argue, there's nothing to debate. And I know, and God forgive me, I ask God to speak through me. So if this is too far, I know we live in a world where you have to pick sides. I know we live in a world where there's so much pain, so much darkness, so much death, so much grief, so much agony, so much lack of community, so much. I'm over here preaching all these things, but everyone on here crawled their way onto the screen somehow in their own way. That is so real. That is so real. So is what brought us here. So is what helped you crawl. So is what helped me crawl. So is what you think you see in those characters and in that story and in you. So is that memory of that loved one that's still with you when we read it together and the one that will be there the next time. So is all the laughter and the smiles that we had here. So is everything else. And that matters too. And if we pay attention to that, if we feed that, we'll realize that it might be a little stronger. And in fact, it will be. And in fact, it is everything. So keep breathing and keep being brave and keep reading.
Woo. Good gracious. I'm so proud of you, Brittany. You have no idea.
Thank
You
you.
have no idea. No
Thank
idea.
you.
Okay. We get this question often, so I want to close it with this from one writer to future writers, aspiring authors. What advice do you have for people who might have an idea for a book?
Think about what the most loving next step is. Is that to keep it with you? If it is, that's beautiful. If your heart's telling you to share it, then share it. If you're not sure how, start to seek. You will find it. Ask other people for help. I'd love to talk to you. Cynthia'd love to talk to you, even just to talk about books, nothing else.
Yeah.
But think about what's the most loving next step. There's some stories that I haven't shared with the world that are just mine. Those are okay. Um, But your characters, the world you create, will tell you where it belongs, where it needs to be in your heart and in others. Listen to that. Um, don't resent your work because it can move things, and it can move things in you weren't aware it happened or it existed. It can be unsettling and call for that need to be brave again. That's why I want you to think of what's the most loving next step,
I love
and
that.
allow yourself to play in that space.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Brittany, these
Cynthia,
conversations that we have are always powerful. And this is nothing short of amazing.
thank you.
And I know that the folks who are watching with us, who have watched, the folks who are joining on the replay, there's at least one nugget that they got from this. So, those of you that are watching, if you could drop that nugget in the comments, I want to make sure that we share those with Brittany, um, so that she can receive some real flowers, not the fake ones that are sitting right there
See my
in the
little,
yellow
you saw
vase.
me try to
But
do it.
yeah, it takes a lot for creatives to share their work with the world, because it's precious to us. But as you mentioned, the most loving thing sometimes is sharing that with others. And we just want to make sure that we thank you for the work that you poured into this, not only in getting the work out and then refining it and then finding a way to illustrate it, but in boldly stepping into the shoes of promoting this book. You've seen me do it a lot. I will release a book and then like 2 months later be like, oh yeah, there's like it's out.
It's out there. Yeah.
But it's something different to stand in it and tell people that this is a story worth reading. And we thank you tremendously for doing that. It
Thank you.
That's a different muscle to flex, and I see you. I see you flexing it. So thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you, thank you. What's coming up next for you outside of the event on Saturday?
That's a great question. I don't know, but I do know it'll be something continuing to support Elma and Leeroy, Sweebo and Lawanda. I got a lot of tending to do to my own garden.
Mm-hmm.
Um, might see me out in it. Say hello. Um, I will be doing my part to make sure people remember that the rainbow exists, even if they can't see it, and I will be there when they are
Yep.
there, and so will Darla, and that they will always be welcome. You might see me pop off at work. Got some more speaking engagements, more traveling, and seeing the way people pull up for me and what I see as a personal endeavor makes me want to show up better in all my arenas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so hopefully that just means you see more of me in different ways, and that you see what I'm trying to author and illustrate and how I move. That you feel welcome in that space, and I'm welcome in yours, and that we don't fight that other stuff that makes us go on the floor, but we stand up and we do the things to help other people realize that they can get off the floor too when it's time.
Absolutely. I love it. Brittany, thank you again for sharing with us today. This has been so much fun. I'm going to encourage you to come back to the comments. They are rolling in right now.
Thank you.
Um, I don't want to put you in the position of having to read them on air.
Y'all can't do me like that. We made it
But
all.
please, please, please check them out,
I
because
will. Thank you.
they are awesome on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. They are flooding in, so make sure that you check those out. Even if you're watching on the replay, please, she's going to be coming back to the comments to check them out. Leave your message as well for Brittany. And do us a favor. We've dropped the link to the launch party at Junior Achievements Youth Learning Lab, which is this Saturday at 3 o'clock. Make sure that you tell us that you're coming so that we can plan for you. Just hit that link and drop us a note so we know that you're coming. And Brittany, I'll see you there.
I'll see you
All right.
there. Thank
Thank
you.
y'all for tapping in. We'll see you in the next Launch Crate Live from Home.